Let's now use the clock method to simplify how we rotate and point the file with hybrid filing. We'll start by laying the cross-section of the file on the sloped side of the dotted tooth. That's the tooth set away from your point of view. Note that we have achieved a rake angle of 10 degrees on the steep side of the adjacent tooth, the tooth doing the actual cutting. When you apply a clock face to the equation, you'll see that 10 degrees is actually about a quarter past 12. So look at it this way. The rake angle for rip filing is just a smidge past 12. When hybrid filing, you're rotating your file another smidge. Just don't go past 12:15. It's really that simple, and there's no need for a protractor. Now let's examine how the clock method can apply to bevel. That is, where do you point the tip of your file laterally to put an edge on your cutting tooth? Here we see the rake profile we just examined. This is what it looks like when you lay the cross-section of your file on the sloped side of the dotted tooth. And here's what it looks like laterally. Note how the tip of the file points 10 degrees toward the heel end of the plate. What's your clock orientation? 12:15. And that's what 10 degrees looks like from your POV when filing. Now, let's see how this works in the following animation. Here we're rotating the file into the gullet. We've got a 10-degree offset. And as we move our point of view up toward the bevel, we're pointing our file toward the heel end of the saw plate at 10 degrees, and that is 12:15. Now let's flip the plate. We have the toe this time on the right and the heel on the left. When we lay the cross-section of our file down on the sloped side of the dotted tooth, again, that's the tooth set away from your point of view, we see that we have a rake angle of 350 degrees. So what's your clock orientation? About a quarter till 12 or 11:45. Easy peasy. Here we see the rake profile we just examined. This is what it looks like when you lay the cross-section of your file on the sloped side of the dotted tooth. And here's what it looks like laterally. Note how the tip of the file points 350 degrees this time toward the heel end of the plate. What's your clock orientation? 11:45, and that's roughly 350 degrees. So let's see what this looks like with our following animation. We lock the cross-section of the file on the sloped side of the dotted tooth, and we're offset by 350 degrees. Look overhead, we're pointing the tip of our file toward the heel end at 350 degrees or 11:45 using the clock method. So let's summarize. It's important to know how to look at the profile of your teeth and where you're pointing your file to achieve symmetry. You can even be off a few degrees as long as you're sharpening to joint such that every tooth in your tooth line is engaged in the cut. Let's look at some key takeaways with this lesson. Your rake angle is a function of rotating the cross-section of your file to achieve proper symmetry in your tooth line, and it's your most important angle for backsaws with their thinner plates. Establishing bevel is a matter of pointing your file toward the heel. It's your least important consideration for backsaws because of their thinner plates. Any more than that just slows down your cut with repeated strokes at the expense of accuracy and edge retention. But it has more of a role with the thicker plates of your hand and panel saws because you're dealing with a thicker plate. And there you have it for using the clock method to establish rake and bevel for hybrid filing. Thanks for watching. This has been Mark at SawSharp.